Thank you, Mr. President. With me today, Mr. President, colleagues from my office, Mr. Christian Ami. I want to talk for a few minutes, Mr. President, about America, about Washington, D.C., and about Louisiana. Every time I leave Washington, D.C., and go back home to America, I am reminded of how parochial Washington, D.C. can be, how removed it can be, how unaware it can be. We often hear people in the city, where our capital sits, say, well, if the American people just don't understand. American people, you often hear, just don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what we know. They don't read the news. They don't keep up like we do. So recently, Mr. President, I conducted a poll to test that point of view. And some were surprised with the results of the poll. I was not. One of the questions I asked in the poll of the people in Louisiana is how frequently would you say they follow the news? About 70% of my people in Louisiana, Mr. President, follow the news every single day. Actually, it's 67.8%. Some of my colleagues back home were surprised by that. I was not. 23.5% said a few times a week, and only 6.4% of my people don't consult the news, read the news very often. I also, out of curiosity, polled where my people were receiving their news. 39% of the people in Louisiana, 70% of whom follow the news every single day, get their news from cable TV. Another 21.1% get their news from morning and evening broadcast television, not cable, local television news and national television news. So I guess from one point of view, and I think the numbers bear this out, in Louisiana, in terms of a source of news, television is king. Television is king. 70%, or rather 60% of my people, most of whom follow the news every single day, get their news either from cable TV, from the national evening and morning news, and from local television, evening and morning news. 27% of my people get their news primarily from the internet. To break that down, about 12.6% from social media apps, Facebook, Twitter. 4.7, almost 5% from YouTube. Another 9.1% from Apple News, Google News, and those sorts of sites on the internet. So television news, both national and also particularly local, is king in Louisiana, with 60% of the people saying that's my go-to news source. But the internet is also a substantial factor at 27%. 27% of my people, 70% of whom read the news every day, get their news from the internet. Radio news is also important in my state. 7% of my people and change listen to radio news as their primary source of news. And coming in last, consistent with national trends, only 4% of my people receive their news today from newspapers. How the world has changed. I just found these numbers to be interesting, Mr. President. The source of news for most of my people was interesting to me, but I was very, very pleased to find that 70% of my people in Louisiana read the news every single day. And in most cases, they get it from television, but also the internet and radio as well. Sometimes we get it wrong in Washington, Mr. President, in terms of our perceptions of what's going on in the real America. And with that, Mr. President, I suggest the absence of, no, I don't. I see the lady here, Mr. President, shaking her hand. I can't do that. What would you like me to do? Oh, we're automatically adjourned when I'm done, huh? Well, I'm done, so we're adjourned. So you can bang the gavel, Mr. President.
We stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.